What's up, sports fans? This is Rob from the Playbook with Hack and Rob. So this is a new thing under the sports opinions umbrella. We're just going to be there's a bunch of different shows that are a little more specific to reach the needs of sports fans under sports opinions. So I'm here with my boy Joe. Joe, you want to just say what's up?
Yep. What's up?
Me and Joe are going to try through this show to just give you guys a better opinion on sports. Not sports, football. We're going to give you more specifics on football through the NFL season, and then just be more scheme-based, kind of show you which guys stood out to us, whether it be rookies, vets, and how they kind of fit into the scheme of their team, what to expect, kind of go over matchups that we think are going to be interesting and different aspects of the game that you wouldn't normally pick up on just being a normal fan, because me and Joe, we were talking about it before the show actually, about how it can just be annoying how people who really don't know much about football are just kind of, you don't want to be that person to think you know things that you really don't know about. And me and Joe are just going to kind of help you, have a better understanding to the, best of our ability. So, Joe, do you want to speak a little bit about what you plan to bring to the show? That kind of thing.
Yeah, I'd love to. So the best thing about football has to be the X's and O's. And there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that people don't see. So whether it's scheming over one player or an entire offense, defense, what I like to do is I like to break it down, figure out what's going on, and make it easy for you guys to understand, because nothing's worse than being in a conversation, not knowing what you're talking about. That's how I am with hockey. So, I won't talk about hockey here, but if you're like that with football, this is definitely something you want to listen to.
Yeah, and that's just something. Being a sports fan, there's going to be sports that you know more about and some that you know a little less about. So I think we did a first run through of this a while ago, but I think it'll segment. It'll be a nice segue.
Yeah, Rob forgot to hit record.
So it'll be a nice segue if I talk about my football history first, and then we'll go to Joe's, because Joe speaks to the player that we're going to talk about first. Mm-hmm. So my football background, I played all throughout, Pop Warner in high school. It was good enough in high school to have a partial scholarship to Pace University. And then I transferred from Pace to Fairleigh Dickinson University, had a pretty good senior year there, D3 Fairleigh, but pretty good season.
FDU Hall of Famer.
Had a good year, was first team at Fairleigh, was third team in the region, and first team ECAC and third team D3.com in the East region.
But most importantly, you're an FDU Hall of Famer.
Yeah, FDU proved pretty good. Had a pretty good season. Was a captain,
proven legend
during this year. So, Joe, you want to tell us about your football background a little bit?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I only played in high school. I was very undersized, playing middle linebacker. I just knew the defense, so I knew where to put people, and that's where you put the brains of the defense. Usually it's either a safety or a linebacker. They decided to put me at linebacker. Unfortunately, going into my senior year, I suffered my fourth concussion in the span of 2 years. So basically I was in the hospital. It was a bad time. I had to really peel back the curtains and realize why I play this game. And after meeting with a neurologist who actually worked with Big Ben and the Pittsburgh Steelers, decided it was best that we just called it quits. It was probably one of the hardest decisions of my life, because the team aspect is something that I really love, but unfortunately you have to choose life over football sometimes. And unfortunately I had my career cut short, but hopefully one day I want to coach, so that'd be dope.
And I've been around a lot of really good football players, and it's Joe's was a kid who just could have been real special. He just nose for the football, was always around the ball, and it was just one of those things where Joe develops a little more speed, and it just happens as you develop as a player on the collegiate level. And Joe would have been just as good as me, if not better, had he not had that happen. But that's just one of those things. Just one of those things, you can't control it, and it's life. It's just the way things go. So. Just to kind of segue into the next, our next segment, I think we're going to talk about a Jets rookie that's really surprised us this far. Now, this isn't a show that we want to focus only on the Jets and their scheme, but one of the rookies that I think me and Joe both agreed on last time we talked, and I think we kind of have two of mine, but the one that really stood out was was Cashman. So Joe, you want to say a little bit about the inside linebacker rookie?
Yeah, Blake Cashman. I believe he's number 53. He's a little guy, a little undersized. I think we took him in, the 5th round?
Yeah, I believe so. That's what, yep.
So the thing that I realized with him is doing some background research is that he never missed a tackle in college, which is something you need to emphasize in the NFL. There are a lot of missed tackles in the NFL for no reason. These are bigger, stronger guys, and they're missing tackles because, well, they're facing the cream of the crop at running back. And Blake Cashman, he never missed a tackle. So, and that continued into the NFL. He only missed one, but the play got called back, so it doesn't count. So he still has yet to miss a tackle. He missed the second preseason game. He was around the ball. He helped force a fumble in the first preseason game. And especially with the injury to Avery Williamson towards ACL, prayers up. Next man up. I think Blake Cashman could be that next man up come week 5, 6.
Yep, I think Cashman was one of those guys who I just remember reading in the camp blogs and just seeing different things. He was somebody that coaches were impressed with enough to the point where they were putting him in with the ones. I mean, he was right next to CJ and Avery all throughout the beginning of camp. So this is somebody who they had planned on, obviously, giving him time as much as they could just because they saw some potential. And whenever you can get a guy like this who as I mentioned before, last time me and Joe tried to do this, we were trying to I was trying to figure out how come his stats were his sophomore year of college, his tackles were so low, but he had 7.5 sacks. So I realized that, they moved him from outside linebacker to inside linebacker, and, he just flourished. I mean, his senior year, he had 100-plus tackles, like Joe was saying, didn't miss any, and that's something that's special when you see that in a guy who can not only move positions, but then, be at, the top of his, position, at both, So it's hard to do. It's not easy to go from inside linebacker to outside linebacker, and I would know because if I tried to play inside backer, even at Division III level, I would be nowhere near as useful as had I been on the outside. So it speaks to somebody's ability, when you can do both. So I think Cashman, he's a special player, and it's going to show up a lot for the Jets. Definitely going to show up a lot.
And he's an athlete. He ran a fast 40. I don't know the time. Might have been a 4.5. But whenever you get somebody, especially running the scheme the Jets run, I believe it's a 3-4 right now. Yep. And it's more of a nickel package, meaning what we do is we take out usually a linebacker and sub him in for another DB to help with pass plays because we have Jamal Adams, who's a beast, but I want to stay on topic. When it comes to Blake Cashman, he could really flow from sideline to sideline really fast. Sweeps won't if he's on the strong side, sweeps won't be too fast for him, and I think he's smart enough to not over pursue either when he's on the weak side of the play.
Yep, and just speaking more to that, like Joe saying, the Jets having a 3-4, your inside linebackers are important. That's going to make a huge difference in the run game. You got to have a solid D line because 3-4 is more of a when you have athletic guys who can get after the quarterback on both edges and you kind of want it, that you can deal with having like one less linebacker really worried about, contain and more so just up the middle and then worried about things that cross. So, I mean, basically in a 3-4, your inside linebackers are harder to defense. Like you got to have good inside linebackers, a solid D-line, and then like Joe was talking about Adams a little bit, a solid safety. So Cashman fits right in to have – you got to have a freak inside linebacker in a 3-4 if you want to be successful. So he should be that guy for the Jets. He really should.
Yeah, and to expand on it, you got Greg Williams, DC, defensive coordinator there. He wants dogs on the field. Like you walk in against a Greg Williams defense, welcome to the Thunderdome, baby, because every person on that side, all 11 guys on that side of the ball want the ball and they want your head.
Yep. That's the mentality. And just the next guy I think we were talking about a little bit was Jachai Polite. And he's one of those guys who obviously he dropped to the 3rd round. He was our, pick in the 3rd round for us. And, he's another one who's a freak. I mean, you look at his measurables, he's 6'3", 260, and he's just someone who, I want to look up his Florida stats just to have that. But I mean, he was projected to go really high. I'm pretty sure he was a
very high,
early. Yeah.
He was a 1st-round draft pick until a media day during the draft where he said he never watched game film on himself.
Which is crazy.
I'm sorry.
This is crazy.
I'm sorry. What are they doing at Florida? They just ruined a man's career. Yeah. At least lie. Come on, you had to put some
that's.
highlight on your Instagram story or Snapchat story.
I mean, he
Eating
has
dog.
Joe. I looked up at his Instagram. He has highlights up, but I mean, that's
Like,
not what they're
and
talking
now
about.
word at a Jets camp is he might not even make the final roster.
Really,
That's just,
is
and
that?
I like him. He's a freak athlete.
Yeah, yeah,
There are reports coming out that he is on the brink of not making it. I hope he makes it, because if you give that kid a year or two of actually watching himself play for once, just once maybe, I think it'll be, the effect would be tenfold. I think he could be great. He's a freak.
yeah. And I think he's one of those guys who we actually attended the Jets Giants preseason game, and you could tell that he's a presence. He's a guy who
Mm-hmm.
he was steps away from a strip sack. He was always every third and anytime he got to pin his ears back and just get after the quarterback, it was not easy. Whenever he's one-on-one, it's really not an easy
Mm-hmm.
matchup for that tackle. So I mean, he's continued that throughout the preseason, but it's just him not making the roster. That comes down to discipline, and I mean,
Yeah.
that's something Greg Williams is going to want. He wants guys who can get after it, but you're going to have to be disciplined in the Williams defense too. So, even though that 3-4 defense is a little more attacking, and you want to be aggressive, polite, some of his the backlash of that might be discipline, because even you look at a guy like Clowney. He's undisciplined, but
Mm-hmm.
when sometimes talent can make up for that undisciplined nature of a player.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And another thing, when we talk about these rookies, you got to remember the game right now is so fast for a lot of them. I think when it comes to Blake Cashman, the discipline's there, the work ethic is there, whereas in Ja'Kai, you don't really know that. But if you have that discipline, you have that work ethic, you get 3, 4, even 5 games under your belt, that game will start to slow down for him. And once it starts to slow down for Ja'Kai and especially Blake, I think if Ja'Kai keeps to it, he could be so good. He could be so good. Same with Blake.
Yep. Agreed. So just moving on to the next thing we want to talk about. We're going to talk about one rookie who fits the scheme of any team in the NFL. So Joe, do you want to go first? So go ahead and start off with your rookie.
Yeah, sure. I'm a big fan of Devin Bush, linebacker out of Michigan. He drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers in the first round. They traded up to get him. Shout out Colton Gesser. I know you're going to love me for this. He's a little undersized. I think he's going to struggle covering, because a lot of those inside backers are asked to either cover a running back, which he won't have a problem with, or sometimes a tight end, which I think when it comes to the height disparity, he might have a little issue. But the kid is, like we said with Blake, he has a nose for the ball. He's around every play. And he doesn't miss tackles. It's another thing. And when you have a middle linebacker who could just play the entire field, who could run left, who could run right, who's smart enough to fill the A gap when needed, who reads the offensive line first, it's very special, very rare that you get that in the NFL. And I think the game is just so slow for him right now. You see the plays that he's making in preseason. He's tackling guys behind the line. I think this kid's going to be special. In an unfortunate situation with what happened to Shazier, he's going to fill that void very, very easily and quickly. I think he's going to be a stud. Definitely going to be runner-up to Rookie of the Year behind Quinnen Williams.
Yep, I agree with Bush. Bush is special. I mean, whenever you take a inside linebacker that high in the draft, he's gotta hit everything. I mean,
Yep.
Bush, I'm 98% sure about this. After he ran his 40 time, he cried during the combine when he found out what his time was.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember it was, some positive, some negative feedback on it, but I think that's a good thing. When guys show emotion for that kind of thing, because these guys are coming from all kinds of different backgrounds and stuff, and they're just trying to make a life for themselves and, have money for generations, and he's,
Mm-hmm.
one of those guys who's clearly passionate about football. I mean, he plays, I believe Bush came in. See, there's the other, Joe, who's the other linebacker that got drafted? There was another linebacker who was drafted who was an inside backer. And I don't know if it was Bush who came in as a running back or this other guy that came in. And his name was Devin too. I think Devin White from LSU.
Oh, Devin White. He went to the Bucks, right?
Yep. And
He's going to be good.
I'm like, I don't want to be wrong about the Bush thing, but I came in as a running back and switched positions.
Either way, he has the speed of a running back.
And he's
got
really exactly.
And he has the size. He's built like a running back. He's what, 5'11", 6 foot? He
Yeah,
might be
yeah,
6'1". They
he's
usually give him an inch.
That's what. Yeah, I mean, I think he's five. He measured him at 5'10", and he ran what at the combine? He ran like a four, either a 4.3 or a low 4.4, something ridiculous. He ran something crazy at the combine. But bottom line is, he's gonna fit in. He's gonna fit in well.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna be exactly you said. What Shazier was, that really athletic linebacker that can run in another 3-4 defense, and he can play sideline to sideline for you. Knows for the football. And he's already had really good showings. He's playing really good early on with his time. So that's somebody who
Mm-hmm.
you definitely should look out for. And
He's going to step in and make an impact from week 1.
he has to. Yeah, they don't have
Mm-hmm.
depth. They don't have anybody there, honestly.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's gonna be their guy. But my guy who I had actually mentioned, I think I'm gonna switch it because I had mentioned this at the very end the last time. But I think
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is the guy.
Really?
There is a legit quarterback competition in New York, and it's between. Well, I'm
It
really
needs to
not
be talked about.
competition. I mean, yeah, it really does. I mean, him starting is a real thing that we need to realize. Honestly, we need to
Yeah.
understand that Daniel Jones is close to the real deal as what Giants fans, are going to
Could
get.
hope
I
for.
mean, the whole
That's really
yeah,
what you could hope
yep,
for. It's the best
that's
you could
what you
hope for
want.
right now.
Yep, because I mean, out of all the rookie quarterbacks, I mean, Kyler's playing solid, but Daniel Jones is having the most impressive preseason right now. I mean, the guy he's 25 for 30. He's over 350 yards, and he has 2 touchdowns, I believe.
Yeah,
So,
and Rob, what did I say after the draft? You got to give me some credit here. I thought he was the best quarterback coming out of the draft.
yep,
I really did. I wasn't too high on Kyler. I think he's proven me wrong a little bit, but when Oakland dialed up the pressure on him, he kind of folded a little bit. I know it's like an unspoken rule in preseason. You don't throw crazy blitzes at especially a rookie quarterback, but I think it's going to be a shock. It's going to take Kyler some time to really find his footing, while Daniel Jones, yeah, he's going against second string, third string, even fourth string in some cases. But I think he showed out, and he showed that, hey, I'm a quarterback, and I could play in New York.
Yep. And I think, an even more impressive thing with him is, it's going to be helpful that, Saquon's there and there's kind of that crutch in the backfield.
Oh, yeah.
But and Evan Ingram, for what it's worth, is going to be pretty good too. But there's
He's
no
an
more
athlete.
like
He should be so much better than how he's been playing the past 2 years, whether it was injuries or not. But
last
he's
year,
gonna. Mm-hmm.
I don't know what last year he didn't play much. Like, he wasn't hurt or anything. He just wasn't part of the game plan most weeks because he just was not getting the time that you saw with him 2 years ago. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the thing, my point that I want to make is just that Odell's gone, so there's no more, if you see somebody Odell in single coverage, you can just throw him the ball. Daniel Jones is going to have, he'll have he'll have Tate, he'll have Golden Tate, but he's not going to have.
Not
he doesn't
Odell.
have. Yeah, that's the thing, bro. It's not the same. It's just not the same. They have weapons, but it's not that same level of threat that was there before. So we'll see what he does. But he's playing well right now, and that's the guy that I think he's the one I think is going to surprise a lot of people. It will continue to surprise a lot of people, I should say.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Joe. If you got
do you think Eli's should start week 1?
I think you
Mm-hmm.
give. I mean, honestly, if I'm the coach, I'm putting the best player out there. Right now, Daniel Jones is the best player. So, but the thing is, it's not that simple because it's New York, and in New York, he goes out there and throws 4 picks week 1, and he's rattled. You ruin, and New York fan base's mind. You ruined his career because you put him out too early. Like, the safe bet is to put Eli out for week. Put him out for week 1. If he throws 2 picks, put Jones in. Nobody's mad. I think that's kind of the what you got to follow. That's the script you got to follow, if you will, to kind of thing. So I think, Eli week 1 just because of the situation. But anywhere else, like if we're in Miami, if we're in Tampa Bay, I'm throwing him in week 1. He's a starter. Yeah, no questions asked. But just because of the situation at hand, I got to throw Eli out there at least 2 weeks. If and then once the fans start calling for his head, put Jones in there.
Now me on the other hand, I'm gonna see, as a GM, as a person in the front office, I'm never listening to the fans. You listen to the fans, you end up with Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, good point.
And the thing about Eli, I think he's actually had a really good preseason. I don't think he lost that starting job yet. And you also got to think this is his last year.
Probably,
Depending
yeah,
on how
yeah.
the season. Listen, if the season's on the line, you got to win two win and you're in. Let's say this, okay? And Eli's up and down. Maybe start Daniel, but then you're ruining the team's morale. Who's got you there? So I think you got to stick it out with Eli now, and then it'll be Daniel's team next year.
Later on. All right.
Like
Yeah, no,
like what Mahomes
yep.
did.
Yeah, that's
Like
what
what
I
they
was gonna
did with
say.
Smith.
Yeah, yep. I think that formula, we got. I think maybe two more quarterbacks turn into. I mean, nobody. I don't think anybody's turning to Pat Mahomes, but two more quarterbacks turn
Oh
out
yeah, no.
decent with that formula, and I think we're gonna see a lot more teams doing that. But Joe, like you said, I think Jones and Bush, those are two people. I mean, two rookies who we can you can bet on them to a certain extent. I mean, it is the preseason, It's
Even the one you mentioned earlier, Devin White's another one. Him and Levante David are going to be scary in the middle.
Another, those two. Anytime you got two linebackers, I mean, look at Carolina with Mason and Kuechly. That's dangerous, man. That's dangerous.
Well, let's see if Kuechly could stay healthy.
That's
he's got a
with
knee problem.
Yeah, him with the concussion. But all right, Joe. So let's move on to the last thing we're going to talk about. We're just going to go over which divisional matchup we think is going to be. Well, just one to watch, one that we think is going to split pretty much. It was a really good divisional matchup. So, Joe, you want to start again? Might as well.
Yeah, no surprise here. I'm going Jets-Pats. Okay.
Yep.
You look at what the Pats lost. Okay, they lost Gronk, but they gained Demaryius Thomas, and Josh Gordon's reinstated. Okay, they have great receivers, two great receivers right now, and Philip Dorsett and Julian Edelman. Okay, Julian Edelman's a Hall of Famer. They got a Hall of Famer at quarterback, and they have the best top three line in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Now you look at what the Jets have on defense. Arguably, when you look at it on paper, especially if they trade and they get this Jadeveon Clowney trade, arguably one of the best D-lines in football, front sevens in football, with CJ, Quinnen, Leonard, Henry Anderson. Add Jadeveon Clowney to the mix, you have a great front seven versus a great offensive line. And where the Jets are weak is corner. So you're going to have that matchup, the weak corners, but can we get to Brady in time? Can we rattle Brady? There's two ways to beat Tom Brady, and first way is to knock him on his butt a couple times, right? You want to get in the backfield fast, rattle him a little bit, and the second way is the best way to beat him is just keep him off the field. You got to control the clock on offense, and the Jets have that offense. They have Le'Veon Bell to run the ball on 3rd and 4, on 3rd and 3. Okay, that's not always a passing situation now. And then you have Sam, second year, looked great in the preseason. Had like a 120 QBR, quarterback rating, 2 touchdowns. Great throw to, was it Ty Montgomery in the last game against the Saints? Quincy Enunwa, Robbie Anderson, who really looks like a scary deep threat this year. And I just think this could be one of the best years in the AFC East when it comes to matchups against the Pats when it comes to the Jets.
Yeah. Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead, finish.
And yeah, that's just all I have to say. I really think this is going to be a heated rivalry. I really think a split. And ironically, I think the Jets beat them in New England, and New England beats us at home.
Yeah, I mean that's one of those things where we play each other tough every year. So I mean the fact that now there's a much better Jets team involved this year is going to be it's going to be something to watch. And like you said, if the Clowney thing can come through, that'll be huge because the pass rush presence just has not been there for us. And if we can get we draft a guy like Quinnen Williams, we got Polite, if he stays around and can get some discipline with him, and you add Clowney to the mix, then you got, and like you said, Anderson too, you got something special going on. And I think we're going to have to improve there because our secondary has been very, we're hurt. We're low. There's no depth at in our secondary, and that's going to be a weak point for us for sure. Especially when we need the way we play. We're taking backers off, and we're putting, like you said, there's that nickel situation where you're putting another DB on. You got to have pressure. You got to have pressure to give those guys a little bit of a break because they can only cover for so long. So,
and we're at the point since we run a nickel for the most part as our base, we have usually 3 corners on the field. Okay. So if one goes down, you're already reaching in your pocket. You got your third string in. You got your fourth string in. Tremaine Johnson, we need to make sure his hamstring is straight before week 1. They say he's going to play week 1, but if it's not 110%, I want him sitting out. I think we could beat Buffalo with our hands tied behind our backs.
Yeah, we should be able to. There shouldn't be an issue with that. And I mean, his, like you said, you don't want to play with a hamstring injury. You've seen it so many times that, when you don't give guys proper rest over that, it can be an issue. Like, I remember the Steelers. Yep, Leonard Fournette, and then even Juju in 2 years ago in the Pats Steelers game when the controversial catch call happened and all that. If he he would have scored had his hamstring been healthy. I mean, it might have took him to make that play, but I mean, he was limping down the field. It's like 40, 50 yards downfield. So, I mean, it's just one of those things. But, all right, so moving on to my pick for divisional, matchup of the year. I think it's going to be Browns-Steelers, honestly. I mean, it seems, the Browns are getting all this publicity, but it really is. I mean, if there's a game to watch, that's going to be a game to watch both times they play each other this year. And I don't see, they tied last year. And, I mean, the Browns had a solid team, but, you add Odell, you add Greedy Williams, you add another year of experience with Baker. You add Myles Garrett, another year bigger, faster, stronger. Denzel Ward is the stud, like offensively and defensively, the Browns can hurt you in almost every way. They've had a top-rated offensive line even during their bad years, and they not much has changed up front for them. So that that's going to be a really good matchup. And you can't take the Steelers. Yes, they lost Le'Veon. Yes, they lost Antonio Brown. But less drama in the locker room now. They're more focused.
And Le'Veon wasn't there last year, and they still competed.
Exactly. And I mean, James Conner, as much as I make fun of Colton for it, he's good. James Conner's good. Juju is gonna have to prove that he can be a number 1 receiver, but there's nothing that says he can. I mean, he's climbed guys for catches 1-on-1 left and right. I mean, he did it to AJ Abuye. He did it to he's had good plays on Jalen Ramsey. Like this Juju's the real deal. There's nothing that says.
And they have one of my favorite receivers. Dante Moncrief.
That's another thing. Add Moncrief, defensively with Bush. Joe Hayden's showing he's still a very, very good player in the NFL. There's just so many things that point to both of these teams being, reloaded and they're ready to go. And the Browns more so than reloaded. They added, guns to the arsenal, if you will. So I mean, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting.
Can I make a bold statement?
Go ahead.
I think the Browns' defense is going to rank higher than their offense.
Yep, I don't disagree. Crazy? Yeah, not at all. Because
not at all. Okay,
every level is good. They're a solid football team all the way around. The offense has all the eyes on it because of all the names that you got there. But I think that the defense has more potential just because the names aren't there. There's not as much expectations.
I think they're going to win more games because of their defense than because of their offense. Because is Odell going to play all 16 games?
Is the question and I mean, I hope he does because I'm probably going to pick him in fantasy. But will he? Who knows? Because that's been an issue as of recently.
They're so talented. They traded Duke Johnson.
Yeah,
on offense,
which is insane.
I still think, and they traded an offensive lineman to the Giants.
Yep.
That's how talented that offense is, but I still think that defense is going to outshine the offense.
Yep. And I think that's one to watch. And Joe, I think that's it. That's our little intro show there.
You want to talk about Andrew Luck?
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. We could just we could talk about that real quick.
Joe, what are your thoughts?
I think when a guy, like he said, he had been playing, but he was hurt, and it was just something that he played last year, and he was good last year. He was solid, but I mean, he had one of the best O-lines in football, protecting him, so that helped out a lot. But it's just injuries. I mean, that whole injuries thing is nothing you can do about it, man. When that happens, our friend Doc, Kyle Doctor, he had mentioned that his dad was, I don't know if he had stake in the XFL or he actually is, owns, I don't know. He has some kind of stake in the XFL. So I guess that could have something to do with it, but I don't take Luck as the type of person to just lie to his, to the franchise about, the real reason.
Yeah. There's no way you jump ship off a Super Bowl roster for the XFL.
Yeah.
Go New York Guardians, but still, come on.
Yeah, Joe, but go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
I think he made a great choice. Okay. And the reason I'm saying this is because we're playing in a completely different NFL. Football is different. Football is changing, and you see it with retirements like Gronk. You see retired. They both retired at 29. Like, we're talking legit, they're prime, and they're done.
Same thing Calvin Johnson did. I mean, a little while ago, but same.
Calvin Johnson, what was he, 30?
Maybe. He might have been 29, too.
And Barry Sanders was 31?
Yep. Guys are doing it. Yep. It's just how it is. Some of these guys just go on.
And
there was a player on the 49ers who did, too.
Patrick Willis.
Patrick Willis. There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
No linebacker.
Yep.
And
yep.
We're at the point we're getting to this point in the NFL where football practice is tough. Nobody wants to play preseason. People are getting hurt during preseason when they play. And it's almost turning into the NBA. It's not going to turn into the NBA. Okay? But we're giving players these max deals. And once Andrew Luck makes $90 million, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I want to keep getting hit. No, I made $90 million. I want to be able to spend my $90 million in Hawaii, in Jamaica, and be able to walk with my kids, with my wife and kids, and little Sally. I want to watch my son get married and remember it. You know.
Yeah.
We're getting to the point where we're paying these guys so much money that once they get the money, it's not worth it.
Especially guys who are smart like Luck. Like, they can do a trillion. Like, he's a case we can do a trillion other things. Like, he never
no doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind, in 10 to 15 years, he'll be coaching and he'll be a Super Bowl winning coach.
Either that or, like I said, the guy went to Stanford and he stayed to graduate too. Like, he has a Stanford degree already. Like, he's just he's fine. He doesn't need football. Like, he could have made plenty of money.
He's made his money. He could sit on it and send his kids to college 50 times each.
Yeah, and he's not spending it in any crazy way. Like, that guy has, if he made $90 million, he saved 89. Like, this guy, he's good. He's good. There's no reason for him to go out there and had things going smooth and no injuries. Then stick it out. And, like, he loves football. Clearly, great guy, great player, but it's just like there's no reason to go out there and risk your body every day.
And you blame this retirement on Irsay. All the Colts fans, Charlie Von Schalza. One of my brothers from Kappa Sigma at FDU, blame Jim Irsay because they got Andrew Luck. Okay, we got our guy for the future. Now what? Oh, we don't have receivers. Oh, we never had a running game. Wait a minute. We forgot to protect Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
6 years down the line, one of the most hit quarterbacks in NFL history, behind Brett Favre, who's played 100 more games than him.
Yeah, it's been rough. There's no way you can argue it. And
it's bad.
The Colts
bad.
Like you said, a lot of promise.
Mm-hmm. Until very recently, the Colts have spent 2 draft picks on offensive linemen. None of them, I don't think any of them were in the first round. They both missed. They both whiffed. Other than that, they've taken linemen in the 6th round, the 7th round. This is the result you're going to get. That's the result you're going to get. LOB. Read it in
it's just, it's rough, being a Colts. If you're a Colts fan, it just sucks. There's no other way to say it. But as football, it's the football world we're living in now. But there is upside because Jacoby Brissett is great. Not the worst guy that you to have come in. It's not like
he's great.
You don't got Nathan Peterman coming in for him. So
if I need a quarterback, I would have traded for Jacoby Brissett, who was undefeated when he played in New England.
That's what I'm saying. This guy's
Jimmy G went down.
He's not a bad option. It is what it is with Luck, But like we were saying, guys are doing it more, and I would not be surprised if after this season we see somebody else in their prime just hang it up. Like
here's a scary thought.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Aaron Rodgers. He's he's an injury away.
Yep.
Cam Newton.
Cam's one.
And even
one.
Kuechly, Carson Wentz.
Yep.
When is it?
Yeah.
When's
Yep.
it not worth
it's
it?
a matter. Mhm.
It only takes one injury, and when is it not worth putting your body or life on the line?
Mm-hmm.
You already made your money. Carson Wentz is swimming in dough after his contract's up.
Yep.
When's it really worth it? Sometimes you choose your life over football. You made your money. Go commentate. Go coach. Go steal the team's game plans like Tony Romo does and predict the play. Go do that.
Yeah.
That's a lot more funner than getting hit every play.
Yeah. And then, I mean, we could get lucky. I mean, you get guys, Jason Witten, they come back. But, I mean, I doubt most of these guys are gone, though.
I mean,
Witten's
especially Gronk. Gronk has lost so much weight.
Yeah, he's
But Andrew Luck, it's still on the table, I think you give it – because a lot of the guys say it's like that 1 year. That first year is the worst. You saw with Ryan Khalil when he came back – when he's coming back to play for the Jets. Oh, I want to play with Sam Darnold. No, you want to play football.
Yeah, exactly.
The Jets are going to start playing center because we have a fourth string starting.
Yeah, there's nobody there. There's literally nobody there. But all right, yeah. So that's I think that's gonna do it, Joe. I think that's gonna do it for the first show.
Sounds good.
So thanks if you're still here, you're still listening. We appreciate it. Again, this is the Playbook with Hack and Rob under the Sports Opinions Podcast umbrella. We're used to identifying everything, but we'll get better at it.
Yeah. We're gonna be more into the game plan as the time goes on.
Yeah, there's just not much to really talk about now. Preseason, so much going on. So many teams not really showing anything. It's very vanilla football that you're getting to see right now. So everything, it's nice. College football is back, so that's fun. Go Ducks. Saturday we watching, but we'll be better. We'll be better. Me and Joe get better at this. We'll get a little more in depth. Kind of not being so general about this guy's fast. This guy like that stuff. We'll have a lot more for you guys, but
he's a great
now,
father.
Joe, you want to? Yeah, right. Angela's a nice guy. But Joe, you want to shout out your social media?
On Instagram, I'm Joe Hackett _ I think. On Twitter, I think I'm. You don't need it on Twitter. Just go on my SoundCloud, Joey Sid.
Facts.
I'm a rapper guy.
Joe's got some hits.
I'm sitting on stuff, dude.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
Joe's
legit
been
sitting
working
on stuff
all summer, so he got some stuff coming out. But yeah, Joey Sizz on SoundCloud, and for me it's just Robert Planter 80 on Twitter and REPJR on Instagram. But follow Sports Opinions Podcast on Twitter, and we'll talk to you guys next week, and we'll be back with some predictions, some sports betting advice. I guess we're gonna give you guys. And, we'll go from there. So I guess that's it.
Yeah.